This is one in a series of presentations intended to teach healthcare professionals, volunteers, and others how to operate pre-programmed amateur radio equipment provided by the San Joaquin County EMS agency. It is intended to provide basic how-to information and is not a full course in radio operation. Welcome to this radio operation course. Its purpose is to teach you how to operate the amateur radio equipment that you'll be using at your healthcare facility. This course takes approximately 10 minutes to complete and is intended for pre-need and just-in-time radio training. This presentation covers the Kenwood TM G707A amateur radio transceiver. This is a dual-band transmitter receiver or transceiver that operates on VHF and UHF amateur radio frequencies. This course will familiarize you with the basic functions of the amateur radio equipment. You'll learn only the essential controls necessary to operate the radio gear. You will learn how to turn the radio on and off, how to set the volume and squelch controls, and how to select the proper memory channel for use during an exercise or an emergency. Step 1 is to make sure that the radio is ready for use. First, look at the back of the radio to make sure an antenna is attached to the radio. Operating the radio without an antenna cable attached will not allow you to transmit and is likely to destroy the transmitter. Make sure that the radio is connected to the power supply and that the power supply is connected to a wall outlet. Your radio requires 12-volt DC power to operate. It is provided by a separate power supply. When the power supply is on, its on-off switch may be lit. If the power supply is not already on, press the switch on the front panel to turn on the power supply at this time. The power supply should be turned off when the radio is not in use. Next, we'll adjust the radio and then turn it on. There are two important controls. The volume control behaves as you'd expect and controls the level of the sound. The squelch control quiets static when there's no signal present. Now find the volume and squelch knobs and turn each to the 9 o'clock position. With volume and squelch adjusted, press the power on-off button. The radio display should now light up. If it does not, check the power supply and make sure that it's turned on. There are two ways to select the frequency you'll be using. One is a traditional tuner called VFO mode in amateur radio that changes frequency as you turn the tuning control knob. The radio also contains pre-programmed memory channels, each of which has a channel number and a channel name. This is memory mode, where the name of the channel and the memory channel number appear on the display. We always use memory mode. Next, we'll select memory mode on the radio. This is very important and is often a cause of confusion. To select memory mode, press the MR button on the radio. This should cause a channel name and memory channel number to appear on the display. We use memory channels to make it easier to find the proper channel to use. Without memory channels, there are thousands of frequencies on which communication might be taking place. With memory channels, we have pre-programmed your radio with all the channels we might use during an emergency. These are the same channels used during drills and exercises and for normal amateur radio communication. Each memory channel has both a number and a name. The names may not make any sense to you. They're tactical names selected for use in an organized and widely used plan such as ours. The primary channels we use are SJC1 through SJC15. Getting the radio onto the proper channel is the biggest challenge facing most users. You must be on the same channel as everyone you wish to communicate with. All healthcare facility radios have been pre-programmed with the amateur radio channels used in San Joaquin County. All of the hospital and clinic radios are programmed alike. Many personally owned radios are also programmed using this channel plan. If you own an amateur radio, we can arrange to program it so that it matches all these other radios, making it easier for you to use. In memory mode, channels are selected by rotating the tuning knob. Clockwise rotation moves to a higher numbered channel, while counterclockwise rotation moves the radio to a lower numbered channel. It's now time to select the proper channel for use. Most of the time, we use channel 22 SJC2. This includes emergencies, non-emergencies, drills, and exercises. If in doubt, always start on channel 22 SJC2. If that channel is unavailable or fails while we're using it, we will immediately switch to channel 24 SJC4. Our second backup channel is channel 23 SJC3. This is what the radio looks like when properly adjusted and set to memory channel 22 SJC2, which is our primary channel. Note the channel name on the left and the channel number on the right. Once you find the proper channel, you're ready to communicate. Here's some tips. Some microphones have several buttons on them. Except for the push-to-talk button on the side of the microphone, don't touch them. If something gets messed up, try turning off the radio and turning it back on. You may then need to reselect memory mode by pressing the MR key and turning the tuning knob to find the proper channel. Talk across the microphone rather than into it. Hold the mic about 3 inches from your mouth and speak at a normal volume and in a normal tone of voice. Press the push-to-talk switch on the left side of the microphone. Wait 1 second before speaking to avoid being cut off. Use plain language, and if you don't understand something, ask. No radio talk, no CB jargon should be used at any time during an emergency or a drill. When one station finishes speaking, you will usually hear some sort of a beep called a courtesy tone indicating that the other station is finished. At that time, another station may begin transmitting. If the power supply does not turn on, it's either the cord is unplugged or the fuse has blown. If the radio does not turn on, it's probably the power supply is off or the radio was not turned on properly. Try holding the on-off button a little longer. If the radio is on but there's no sound, the volume control may be too low. You could find yourself on the wrong channel. If all you hear is static, adjust the squelch control. You also might find yourself on the wrong channel, so always check. If you need help, ask another ham or call for assistance. This is a summary of what we've learned in this presentation. These are the most important 7 points. Obviously, the radio must be on, and doing that requires the power supply being turned on first. You must be in memory mode, where you see channel names and channel numbers rather than frequencies. In memory mode, select the proper channel. This will usually be channel 22, named SJC2, but other channels may be used instead. This concludes our presentation on how to get your radio turned on and onto the proper channel so you can begin communicating. Amateur radio is not just for emergency communications. In fact, emergencies are one of the smaller activities involving amateur radio. Your ham license opens up a world of activities that include talking around the world, talking to orbiting satellites and the International Space Station, participating in radio contests, involving yourself in do-it-yourself projects, and many other fun activities. There are 4 amateur radio clubs in San Joaquin County, and each holds an on-the-air training net each week that you're invited to participate in. For more information, visit n5fdl.com for details. Thank you for your interest in this presentation. If you have any questions about the content or comments about the presentation, please contact either of us.